I got two hands, I got my mouth, I know how to earn money.
Shall we move on? Yeah, okay. I felt I kind of owed a. I don't owe anybody anything, to tell the truth, but owe a little something to my audience. A little explanation of where I stand with YouTube. A final hoo-ha, perhaps. A final discussion, perhaps. Well, I have my late tea here. This is awfully late in the morning for me. Got my lemon in there, and this time I'm going to add a little turmeric. Here we go. Okay. Now, a lot of us all seem to have that impression that it's so important that we keep up with the Joneses on YouTube as far as who's talking about who did this, who's riding with a selfie stick out the window, getting into accidents, whether somebody scores on the street of Angeles City. Really insignificant crap. Watching people screw up their lives with their obesity and their drinking and their bad mouthing other people. As the title says, it all comes out in the wash eventually. And it takes its toll on people. It always does. The wonderful thing about if you could find yourself just sitting back, don't do a YouTube show, and watch all the nonsense, but not overly, check in every now and then and watch everybody just beat the shit out of each other and try to, overcome their loneliness and try to deal with that. And unfortunately, through a lot of frustration, and they become very bitter. But then again, whose fault is that? I don't know what's going on in everybody's life, why they're so bitter, and why they're so lonely. there's a lot of factors that could kind of rule in on this. And everybody has their own set of problems. Everybody has their own set of issues, but unfortunately it comes out on social media. So is social media really a wonderful thing for people? Well, you can look at it in some positive ways, that it's a way of uniting people together, but unfortunately it doesn't always work that way. It could help with your loneliness, feeling that you belong to something, although most of these people don't give two shits about you. You're just a voice or a face on a YouTube channel. And when you think you have all these supporters, you really don't. It's all a facade, and all it's ever been is a facade. That's what it is. It's a facade. They're not your friends. Nobody's your friend. I don't care if you meet up with them at events. A lot of people make the mistake of moving to like Dumaguete, because all they hear about is Dumaguete, because it's like a haven for foreigners. But that's like one of the worst things you could do, because most foreigners don't get along with other foreigners. As what happened with Scotty, one of his vlogging buddies was shoving a camera in somebody's face and they beat the shit out of him. From another foreigner. And it wasn't from anybody else. It wasn't from a local. So I really think, and I felt that I really needed to, and I don't really need to give an explanation whether I want to continue on YouTube or not. I don't need an explanation. A lot of times you just get off, you don't say anything at all. That's what I did last time, and I was off for 3 months, and people thought, well, you're going to give him 3 days, he'll be back on. Well, that didn't happen, did it? I've been winding down on this thing for a long time, actually. It's too volatile out there in YouTube land. People are just trying to create a lot of nonsensual, really, vlogs in order to get, of course, we talk about it over 1,000 times, the viewership and subs, and which equals mathematically, to more money. And they'll do anything. They'll display anything on there. They'll talk about people. They'll do stupid things to get your attention. Look what that got Vitali as a good example, okay? Just, as an example. Look where it got Barry as a great example. I'm sure he highly regrets some of the shit that he's done on YouTube with me. But it all comes out in the wash. Every time. Anyway, I'm just here to say that if you want to do a YouTube channel and you only think that drama and practically being a terrorist is going to be the success of your show, you might get what you want a little bit at first, but eventually it all wears down and you get in trouble or something happens to you, legally, physically, whatever it might be. It all comes to a head. Eventually it does. And many have found out. Look, I've been on here long enough to know this, and it's just been too volatile for me. Most of the time I do have YouTube. I will not get rid of my YouTube, period. It doesn't mean my channel that I'm going to get rid of. I do watch other things on YouTube, not the local Philippines genre. That's just a fraction of what I watch on here. It's been very educational for me to have YouTube, and I don't mean, again, the genre of the Philippines. Everything's been talked about in the Philippines anyway. You're not missing anything if you miss somebody's show. But you will also witness things are about to happen, though, because we have a few vloggers on there that really talk down on the Philippines. And we got one guy, a British guy, who several times he's had people, supposedly, they were non-uniformed policemen who came to his place in Mindanao, of course, kind of ragtagging him on his ID and his everything else, because it's what you say on YouTube. You may not think you're being listened to by Department of Justice or any of its related officers, immigration, etc. But you wouldn't know that. But a lot of times that is happening. Or by locals. For some reason, they listen to your shows. Very radical local people who are very pro-country. And when you come on your show and all you talk about is, well, the Philippines is lacking this, the Philippines is lacking that. You don't like the government is corrupt, the infrastructure, Filipinos are all scammers, this and that and this and that. You don't think people are listening? You're wrong. Sometimes all it takes is one Filipino who's connected to put this information out to the right people. You don't know if that's even, you wouldn't even know that's happening to you. But a lot of people, they take a chance on here. A big chance. Anyway, I've been through my own shit on here for a lot of years. And though I entertain myself by coming on here, I gotta look on a balancing scale and see which way the weights on that scale are going. Is it productive for me to keep on doing shows on here? Is it healthy for me to keep on doing shows on here? These are things I have to make an assessment of. I've had that assessment a long time ago, but I still persisted on coming on. Force of habit, perhaps, or talking about a new event that happened or something. Nobody cares about what I say on here, and most people don't care about what other people say on YouTube. They're just waiting for you to screw up in one way or another. So this way they could now talk about you and have something to talk about. Okay, so I'll keep this short and sweet. The more I monitor YouTube, the more I see the extraordinarily horrible behavior of people on here who have clearly demonstrated that they have some serious personal or psychological or both problems. Remember, it all comes out in a wash. Hello, Kano. One of my regulars here, Kano. I think Kano understands where I'm coming from on here. I wasn't even going to bother to do a show this morning, but I kind of abruptly, yesterday just left a short message that, hey, I'm going to be out of here. This is it. On with the show. This is it. Stage the lights, whatever. Exit stage left, But because I'm so boisterous, I decided to come on this morning. Not at 5 o'clock or so, no. I'm just now having my tea right now. Kind of running behind on things this morning, but there are more important things than doing a show on YouTube. Now, financially, sure, if you were making buku money, you still have to consider this though, but listen to this. If you're making buku money on YouTube, but it's really supplementing your income and you really need it, I understand that. I'll understand that. But there's a fine line between making money on YouTube, which is helping you out, I'm sure a lot of you are dependent on that money. What are you willing to put up with? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing? To get yourself killed? To get harassed all the time? To make enemies on here? And there's some pretty irrational people on here. Birds of a feather, they do flock together. And there's truth in that statement. Not just some old proverbial statement, but it's true. People with the same psychology, they mesh. If you're a hater, you're going to be a hater. If you're an antagonist, you're going to be an antagonist in your personal life or on YouTube, either or both. So it's not really beneficial to stay on YouTube. And you guys know all the shit that I've been through on here. You know every goddamn bit of it. Of course, everything was taken out of context, of course. Frank did this, Frank did that, Frank did this, Frank said that. It's all bullshit. I'm not afraid to speak my mind on here. That's never been the case at all. That's never been the case. At least when I speak my mind, there's truth in what I talk about, and people can't handle that. Not very well, anyway. Yeah. Ufa. Ufa what, Philippines King? So you guys know yourself. You listen to all these shows on here. You're watching people screw up in incredible ways on here. You got Slim, the Estonian guy. You got Jim, Asian Adventures, a total screw up, screwing his life up, making enemies in the Philippines and otherwise. There are, you know, there are consequences to what you do. All right, let me give you an example, like Slim, pro-life traveler. Whatever his arrangement is with his girlfriend, wife, whatever she are, whatever. Still, when he goes out and tries to hang out with these young Filipinos, it creates suspicion with their parents, especially the father. And he has been questioned before too, actually, on this. What are you going out with my daughter for? Then they find out that this guy's already married and has a kid. So what does a guy your age want to be doing with my daughter? And I mean, even a girl herself who doesn't know much about this guy will volunteer to come with him deep into the jungle to go find waterfalls. She don't know anything about this guy. To take that chance with her life because you don't know anything about him. The guy obviously is a creep. She's taken her life in her hands. It's stupidity on both levels, the girls and the vloggers. Scotty spends his time in places like Angeles City promoting the whores and shit. Well, there's a whole lot more for the Philippines, pro-Philippines, than there are negative. To promote the whores so other hard-ons and perverts can come into the Philippines because of videos like Scotty's, showing all these supposedly easy women. No, they're not easy. You have to pay for them. You could do that in your own country. Although cheaper here, but actually not that cheap, really. Some of the things I've heard on here where people are paying is not dirt cheap to get laid, if they have to get laid that bad. Filipino look at Slim like he's a TV actor. Oh, he's an actor, all right. TV, well, if you want to call, YouTube TV, it basically is. It basically is. First sip of my tea here this morning. So, I have to say, with a heavy heart, not really, that we're going to make an effort to kind of stay off this thing for a while, if not permanently. No, my channel will still be here. You'll see the name of the channel. It's going to be here. It's just that I'm not going to be posting. Because the truth is, I spend 75% of my YouTube time is not in the Philippines genre, believe it or not. There's a wealth of information on YouTube out there that I'm always looking into and looking up things religiously, learning, if not about other things, learning about myself, health, you name it. What I'm doing wrong, my diet or anything else, or new trends. Now, I don't follow trending things, but I listen to them. I bet you didn't even know something like this, something as simple as if you're going to store your eggs in a cupboard like they do out here in the Philippines, make sure they're not washed. You didn't know that. There's a film on these eggs, kind of a protective film, and when you wash that off and you put it in your cupboard, that's how your eggs are going to spoil. I bet you didn't know that. You can put eggs in the refrigerator. You know that fancy little tray that the refrigerators come through to put your eggs in? Well, again, if they're unwashed, you can do that. But you can't keep them in there very long, and it shouldn't even be in that tray at the top of the door. Eggs have to be kept in the coldest part of the refrigerator on the bottom shelf. I bet you didn't know that, though. There's a lot of things you don't know, but that's where YouTube and Places like this are such a learning experience that you're doing a lot of things wrong. Like you can't store potatoes in a refrigerator. You can't store potatoes. And if you're in the United States, a lot of countries, when you're buying your meats from the meat department, and you notice they're sealed and they're on a foam tray, that the toxins are leaching from that foam tray onto your meat. But I bet you didn't know that. See, there are good things you could look up on YouTube. There are other things you can get involved with, teaching yourself things that perhaps you never knew. Yeah, we need your wisdom to get through. Oh, it's done. Do you ever think that you are taking a chance with any of the things you have said? Hey, I speak what's on my mind, but I speak the truth. If there's damages from the truth, then oh well. But I speak the truth on here. And if you never hear from me again, you remember me as Frank always did speak the truth. He was not a bullshit artist and he had no reason to be. I got a life outside of YouTube. Yes, believe it or not, I do. What I do in between the shows I do on YouTube, I go on with life. Whatever I do during the day, chores or spending time with my woman or whatever, it has nothing to do with YouTube. That's why I don't really put her on camera. Very rare. She has nothing to do with YouTube. She might be in the background or something. There might be a 2-second little image of her or something, or a point to camera, but keep your family out of it, really. I think you really should. People can't do, there's certain people that can't do shows without me. Popeye, you got the copycat channels and all that. Without me around, all they can do is just reproduce old videos and keep on presenting them. That gets tiring to the viewers after a while. Everything comes out in a wash. I think I did my job on here. I've been a wealth of information to my viewers. I don't have to have 1 million viewers, but I've been a wealth of information to a lot of people about a lot of things going on. I've introduced my little philosophy to a lot of people and talked about things that they never really thought they'd ever even give a shit about. Till they really thought about it. So, you know what? I never thought about it that way. A lot of people have learned from me in a lot of ways. If not, just what I've gone through on YouTube, that maybe it's not the greatest idea to get a YouTube channel together. It does become like a disease. It becomes part of the grain of your life every day, and it takes over you. And you don't want to get to that point. Even for the listeners. Even for the listeners. They get so involved with everybody's drama. Look at Philippines antics. I mean, she admits pretty much that's all she has to do. She barely leaves the house because she's so obese and has all these medical problems. Her life is gossip. And she does that to make ends meet between her and her husband's income, which is not very much. They need the income from YouTube. They are dependent on it. They will go out of their way to get creative and create these little fancy little introductions on there, which takes time. You're not getting paid for that time. You're never making enough money on YouTube that if you have to go through all that editing or use these applications for music and voiceovers and all kinds of shit and all that crazy editing shit, which is now a lot easier these days with AI and all that crap. Yeah. Hey, Owl. Guys, you have never come to my rescue when I've needed you guys. You've never come to my rescue. Let Frank do everything for you. Let Frank do all the dirty deeds that you want to do to people. Nobody has ever come to my assistance. Nobody, even when I was monetized, donated to me when I had the best cause in the world, and it was Barry Lee Jordan, who was the scourge of the Philippines, the scourge of YouTube, who has hurt so many good people, taken money from people, scamming people all the time so he can get his cigarettes and drinks. Philantics is trash, yeah. I think Aloe understands, but Aloe is also not part of the solution. Aloe was part of the problem too, because Aloe has trashed me so many times. He's done research on me or had other people do research on me. Aloe is not innocent either. I don't throw him off here because, well, if he's coming on being friendly, I take that into consideration. Aloe has trashed me more times than I can count, but I could be civil. Frank, I've been promoting your chicken parm is from leftovers. You do that. It was pretty good. God, the garlic that they put on that toast, the big chunks of garlic, it covered the whole piece of toast, of bread. God, in fact, I felt it in my mouth. It was stinging my mouth. So I got my good dose of garlic. Actually stung my mouth. Maybe the last cup of tea on my videos. Not the last cup of tea for me. So this is a talk about show, whatever you want to talk about, to take advantage of it. Because I'm stepping back. I'm stepping back. I still got things, Captain Thornton Owl is definitely not one's friend. I'm stepping back. I still got things I need to take care of, obviously. You know what they are. More important things than going on YouTube. But my life goes on every single day. I wake up to a new morning every day like I've always have. Whether there's adversity out there or not. And what kind of adversity. No, I'm not coming on for Christmas. You'll have to watch Popeye's show on the 24th. His tribute to Barry being incarcerated for the third Christmas. I'm sure I'll be inclusive in there, though. Don't worry about that. Popeye always throws me in there somewhere. Alice says, have you thought about doing YouTube shorts? Easy to do, just island life. I do the same with all kinds of YouTube shorts. Yeah, I did think about that. More people are likely to watch it when you do shorts. A lot of people don't have time to go through a long show. I actually have. I have shorts on there. Something's on my mind. It's political. Something happened with Trump. I've been doing that, actually, Aloe. I don't know if that's the answer, you know. YouTube shorts, yeah. People like that because it's quick and painless. You get your point out, make your point, and you're done. And, you know, you don't have to have a comment section at all. You're not live, so you're not going to be getting any messages from people. You know, yeah. Yeah, that was actually an alternative. But maybe keeping it where you're not talking about necessarily the activity on YouTube, where maybe you do a short, bring it to the attention something that's international issues or something happening with the environment, or you know, the president finally succumbs to his how obnoxious he is and his narcissism, you know, or goes into a full, you know, dizzy spin, falling to the floor, cracking his skull, or gets shot by a sniper or something like that. That's worth doing a short on. I know that sounds terrible, but I talk what's on my mind, man. I don't like Trump. It was a shame when Kennedy got shot. But Trump, I wouldn't give a shit. I think the guy wasn't a good marksman. Missed him by that much. I've been tying market scenes, beach walk. Yeah, I get you. Well, you know, Al, there's only so much you could do with that. Oh yeah, I've considered that as an alternative. Isn't it just best to get the fuck off? What am I achieving from that? Am I monetized now? Am I? Last time I checked, I'm not monetized. I guess the question is, Mr. Allo, is what is there to gain? No, honestly, what is there to gain for me to stay on YouTube? I don't get that many viewers. I don't get that many subs. Give me a reason. Give me a reason. I'd really like to know. Give me a good reason. And I can't think of, no, I'm still going to be on YouTube. I'm always on YouTube. And I don't mean a Philippines genre. No, most of my research I do for my own personal research and entertainment, whatever, is not having any, oh, a really good tool for me for a long time. Alice says, I still like editing a bit, uploading a bit, but at the end of the day, there's really no good reason to be on YouTube. I'm here for the lifestyle tips. We are here for you, Frank, blindly supporting you for your hard efforts in cleaning the streets. Well, it's not my job to clean the streets. It takes a village to raise a family. Didn't Hillary say that? Well, it takes a community to clean up the streets. Not just one person, but not many people are willing to clean up the streets. They want to leave that responsibility to somebody else, which winds up being me. Thornton says, you must get something. You quit many times. Well, let me tell you what I get out. Okay, good question. Why is it that throughout the history of me on YouTube, I said I was going to quit YouTube? Because there was a part of me that really wanted to. It was just too volatile. You know that. I don't have to tell you why. Because there are, if I was a single guy, no responsibility to children and stuff like that, didn't have a loving partner, that's another thing. But there are too many Looney Tunes on YouTube, and I have to sometimes stop being selfish. And I got a family here. I actually do have a family. They may not be my blood kids. What is blood anyway? I have blood. It has nothing to do with me, and I have nothing to do with her. I mean, what does that tell you? Blood don't mean anything, but family could be your dogs. It could be your fucking goldfish. It could be like Popeye's little foo-foo dog he goes to bed with. That's family. The dumbest statement that Barry ever made among 1,000 dumb statements. That ain't your family. That ain't your blood, bro. Oh, God. Well, he definitely don't have a family anymore. Anything to do with him. Hey, Ed. I'm glad to get you all on here today. This is an important show. Scented Memoirs enters. So this is going to be a very defining show here. And I'll stay on long enough to get my point out and also to get your opinions. But I don't need necessarily your opinions to make my own decisions. I'm a big boy now. I can make my own decisions. But the fact is, my viewers have never stood behind me. They know all the shit I was going through. They never stood behind me. They didn't volunteer to put in the affidavits in for me, supporting me on the Barry issue and other things. No, let Frank do it on his own. Oh yeah, they were against Barry. They were against other people, vehemently. But no, they never helped me out. When I needed help and I could have used the support, I did all on my own. In fact, I did most of the work for my lawyers. And people don't know that. And something you don't know about this country, when you have a lawyer for something, you are the one that provides the evidence. It's not like an expensive lawyer in the United States. They'll have investigators go out and gather evidence. No. The lawyer writes up paperwork, signs signatures, notarizes things. He will appear at courthouses, which you will pay for. Okay? You're the one that has to provide the lawyer with the evidence, which means a lot of work. And let me tell you something that you don't know. You would not believe how many hours I have put in to gather evidence, like on Barry's case. You wouldn't believe how many times I had to put things on, not just one copy, but 6 copies of, video cards, memory cards. They didn't want just one copy. And at my expense and at my time to copy this shit. They didn't want just one because they had to send out copies to various agencies. Do you know how much time I've spent doing that? Do you know how much time there's not one vlogger on here that one very volatile, there's not just one volatile vlogger on here. There's many. And you wouldn't believe the amount of recorded information I have on every single one of them. But what am I going to go? Sue everybody? Or go out there and kill everybody? You can't do that. Even for me, I'm not broke, but I'm not going to clean my bank account out and try to put charges on every motherfucker on here, because I'd be doing that forever. Got my point? I pick and choose my adversaries on here. Frank, I think you're on YouTube because you speak your thoughts out loud. Yeah, that's part of it. Well, it is another reason too, a smaller scale. Talking to people that totally understand my English and my slang, which is very unique, American slang that Filipinos don't understand. My girlfriend doesn't understand a lot of my slang. Although I have her to talk to every day, yes. But sometimes you need to reach out to people who understand your slang, understand your English, understand the politics of where you came from, society where you came from, and they don't. They don't. And that's part of an outlet a lot of people come on YouTube for. It's always for the money. The money's always denominated. Let's just say that. Let's get it out. People are not what they say they are. They're not living the life that they say they live. None of them are. Most of these people are not happy, although they try to put together this facade that they're living good, they're happy in their relationships, or they say they have a relationship with somebody and they really don't. Most of these people are extraordinarily lonely. Look at Fazio, a prime example. Look at Kevin. I could go on. I think it's called Frankisms, okay? Thornton says, all the time, effort, and money seem remarkable. It's hard to believe that at the end it was worth the trouble. For Barry? Yes. I don't regret one thing I've done to Barry, because actually Barry has done that to himself. That's what people are seeing wrong. Oh, Frank, what did you do to Barry? I beg to differ on that. The question really is, what did Barry do to himself? That's the question. Yeah, he's been quiet. That's unusual, hasn't it? I don't know. Maybe he's having trouble with the surgery on his knee or something. I don't know. Or maybe he found a new hobby. I doubt it. Do you know the time he tried to get in a boat on the lake and he fell over or something? Or he was weighing 500 pounds at the time. Anyway, we won't want to get into that. There are some funny times on here. Good times at Ridgemont High, the good old days, right? Savino says that Barry's mouth got him in trouble. Indeed. Look, if I croaked or if I got off YouTube, I want you to remember me in one way. Frank stood up for what he believed in. Yes, is Frank protective of his family? Absolutely. I'd kill any one of you. I'm sorry to say that and be so blunt. I would kill any one of you that tried to cause harm to any one of my family. Nevertheless, verbally, they will never approach Gilda and call her a name. It would never happen. They will never approach me and call me a name. And I don't give a fuck how old I am. Just put that out of the equation. I could be a dangerous motherfucker if I want to, in many ways. I'm not the violent type, but goddamn it, I will protect myself if I have to, and I was certainly willing to die for my family here. No question. I'm already 71. I don't care. You want to know the truth? I don't care. They have not lived their full life yet. I have, pretty much. I will kill, go to jail, whatever the fuck it is to protect my partner, her children, the safety and sanctity of this house. There's no question about it. Yeah. Kevin said his rehabilitation could take a year. How about his mental rehabilitation? How long would that take? Hasn't worked so far. No, I'm not afraid to what I speak out. But at the same time, my advice is watch what you say. Because you have a lot of adversaries out there. They're looking to get anything they can on you to get you in trouble. And most of them never even met you either. They're just listening to other people and say, oh, this guy's a bad guy. Did he really do that? Well, here's a guy. Here's a little hint, guys. There's not one goddamn thing on here that I ever did with intent, physically or any other way, to hurt anybody. Have I ever lashed out on people on here? I have, but there's a limit. There's a limit. You don't spend 4, 5, 6 years lashing out at somebody, trying to cause harm to somebody or their family or their reputation. That doesn't jive very well with me. A man who does not care is a dangerous man. Could be. Could be. I was just in the mood this morning to get it all out. And I'll be on here for a little bit because I do want to get this all out. You will still see my show name on here because I have to use YouTube. I'm not going to do what I did last time. I actually canceled my whole Google account, which meant I could not even leave comments on somebody's show. So for the 3 months I was off, I couldn't even comment. So if you saw anybody on there that was going under my name, it was not me. Because if you get rid of your Google account, you could go online and look up YouTube and look up somebody's channel and listen to it, but you can't make any comments. Just to let you know how that works, if you weren't aware of that. Barry acted like he did not care, but he was just drunk, even when he wasn't drunk. Don't make excuses for Barry, because there's absolutely no excuse for Barry. He's getting what he deserves. Probably needs more. I told you, I had a friend in Brazil. Never met her. But she used to check in on me now and then, see if I'm okay. It was like a relationship that couldn't be formed because as a gringo, I was not going to visit her in Brazil. Too dangerous. And she didn't have a word of English. She had to use some interpretation, translation thing. Very difficult. I know very little Spanish. But we kept in touch anyway. Every now and then I get an email from her. How you doing? She says, I'm still keeping up with your social media to see how things are going in your life, blah, blah, blah. And that was really nice. Very attractive woman. Very smart. My God, she's got a degree in psychology and law. Oh my God. Well, they pay for your education apparently in Brazil. And she don't write me anymore. She don't send me flowers anymore. So Barry, she was listening to all this shit on social media thinking I was some kind of a fucking creep. And there's a lot of gullible people that don't know who I am, don't know my situation, don't know my lifestyle. And they just kind of get in on the end of some of the conversations on here. Wow, this guy did that? So probably made her think that maybe this guy's a creep. Maybe he's a real child predator. Maybe he's this or that. They don't know. They don't know the story. They only tune in every now and then. See if Frank's still alive, So they come in on the butt end of some kind of a show on there where they're talking about me or whatever. They don't know any better. He ruined a valuable relationship, a friendship. Gilda don't mind if I talk to a friend that happens to be female. Because it's impossible for me to ever go to Brazil. I wouldn't want to go there anyway. She lived in a very rural kind of area where gringos, you don't see a lot of them around. There's no way in the world I was going to go out there. So I say, if you could find a way to come over visit me, that'd be fine, honey. I'm not going over there. What is she, just out social media or had, what's this? What if she just quit social media or had an accident? Who? Who are you talking about? Captain Thorne says, was getting rid of your Google account an accident? Why would you internationally delete the whole? Because I didn't want anything to do. But I needed Google because there were certain applications of Google I needed to look up stuff and crap like that. I was just very disenchanted at the moment. I said, fuck this shit. I still got things to deal with, so I want to take care of that, then move on with my life. But yeah, it was gone. It was gone. It wasn't there. It didn't exist anymore. Oh, you wanted to know, what if the Brazilian lady just quit social media or had an accident or something? No, I don't think it's that. Maybe she found no reason to communicate with me anymore because I was too far away and she knows I had a woman and all that stuff. And I think it's most likely what she heard on there. And Barry had a lot to do with that. So forgive me if I don't have a soft spot for Barry Jordan. It'll never happen. If the motherfucker got, slashed in prison or something, bled to death, I just say, well, that's one less piece of scum on the earth. I know that sounds pretty harsh, but that's the way I feel. He has cost me time, effort, money, stress. Then it gets worse. He didn't want to stop there. He got his girlfriend involved, right? The gift that keeps on giving. Barry is the gift that keeps on giving. He got his girlfriend involved to put a false report on me to try to get, what the reason was? To try and get me deported. Well, it hasn't worked yet, and I really doubt that that's going to happen, to be honest with you. I have my own reasons why I say that, not to be shared on here. I don't share every single thing, although you think I do. There's too many little factors that will play up on this where I actually don't think it's ever going to come down to that. And if it did, it would not be a permanent thing either. And as I said, I've been away from my girlfriend for a length of time. When I got stuck with the COVID situation, I had to stay in Hawaii for over a year. We dealt with it. Because that's what you got to do. You deal with a situation that comes up. You deal with it. Don't stress yourself out on something. You make the best. So if I wound up in another country for a little while, well, I get to experience. You got to look at the positive. You get to experience another culture because I'm not very well traveled. There's always a rainbow at the end of something. That's if you live your life that way and you think that way. Don't concentrate on all the negative. That there is some positive somewhere in there. Sure, I wouldn't want to be separated again from my girlfriend. And and anything I do is not revenge. It's just justice. And people kind of misconstrue this whole shit with Barry being in jail and everything else. Or the not so kind thoughts I have on his girlfriend for doing what she did. Of course, she had help with that, of course. We know that. I don't think she would have done it otherwise. I honestly don't think. She was pushed into this. I'm like 100% convinced of that she was pushed into this. And there might have been a little bit of enticement going on there. That's all I'm going to say to keep it legal. There might have been a little bit of enticement going on to get her to do what she did. And you could figure out what I mean by that without me having to say it publicly. Frank, can you get your name completely removed from Google? I don't know. The damn charge sheet, that's right. That's absolutely right. Look, I'd understand if somebody was a complete louse like Barry. That's not who I am. I've done a lot of good for people, both on YouTube and in my personal life here in the Philippines. You can't argue that. Of course, you don't live, you don't know everything. You can only go on my word, but that's all you got. That's all I got to give you. I don't have to make excuses for what I do in my life or how I live my life. Well, like I began to show in the picture of the clothing in my wash machine entitled, "It All Comes Out in the Wash," and it usually does. Look what happened to so many people. Look at Johnny Warrior. Walks in his house and dies of a fucking heart attack. Ed Lifford, Fazio. I mean, the list goes on. The list goes on. And these were all volatile people. These were trolls. These were antagonists. These were troublemakers. They all met their fate. And I still believe in that strongly. I don't believe in religion, but I believe in that good old word, karma. The Native Americans had it right. It's not just them. Not just them, but other groups of people have that. If you want to go with Eastern philosophy or whatever, and get away from Native America, but everything, comes full circle. And it did for them. Jack Tom, all these people, Jack. And it's growing. I could already predict to you who's probably next to croak. And I probably would be correct, and for various reasons. Am I going to shed a tear for these people? Hell no. Hell no. I don't go to Jim's wife thing. I went on there a few times, made some comments that Jim was trashing her. I wasn't attacking her. I went on there a few times. That's about it. But Jim, he's destroying himself with the steroids and everything else. Jim. And then you got the other guy, Steven. Hello, all you lovely people. Philippines through the eyes of an expat, He's already got people coming by, checking him out several times already. They're researching him. Not a good sign. Look at Slim. Jesus Christ, people, I've never seen so many comments pertaining to this. His last show he did, as an example, people were just really wound up because he took the wife and baby out in the car. Hey, yo. Hello, neighbor. Yeah. What's that? Rubbish. Let me ask dear Gilda here. I ain't got my shoes on, but let's see. Gilda. 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 Over here. Okay. I don't got shoes on either.
What?
Dennis wants to know, do you have any bags that you want to get rid of? Because he's going to go there and dump some.
Maybe.
Can you check, please? Thank you. All right. Oh, his Cambodian girlfriend is much better. Oh. But, I listen to this stuff and I say, oh, man, this... Yeah, he had the baby in the car, and he was still posting with his selfie stick out the window. I don't know what's wrong with this guy, but that's like a good reason that you just don't want to associate with YouTube and people like this, because, I don't want to see the baby get killed or something, or his girlfriend. She restrained herself, but with all the money this guy supposedly has, and, always able to buy things and everything else, he can't afford to get a proper seat for the kid. It makes me ill just watching this thing, so it's better you just don't even watch.
Okay, thank you.
Huh?
Just a little.
Oh, you don't have enough?
Not enough.
Okay. All right, next time. Anyway, I guess you get my point. I hate to see that happen, but it's almost inevitable that's going to happen. He had sort of 3 accidents already. The guy has a mental illness like most people have on here, or he just doesn't care. Where the ratings and subs are more important than If it's his wife, if it really is, I don't know. He's more interested in making money on there, like a lot of people are, than his own wife's health and his own baby, if that even is his baby. It looks Korean to me. If you leave YouTube, you'll leave a huge void. Well, maybe people will go on with their lives. There's a positive. Popeye won't have any simulcast to do anymore. He's going to go out of his fucking mind. He's going to hit that gin bottle even harder. Or maybe he'll do us all a favor and just fucking croak. One worthless human, if you want to call him subhuman, off the earth. Purge the motherfucker. Purge the motherfucker. Seriously. Maybe that's what needs to be done in the world. Trump will definitely help you do that if you're a Trump supporter. Even if you're not. He'll kill every one of you if you say one discouraging word to him. He'll have your job. He'll have you killed. You voted for him. I'm going to say that forever. You voted for Trump. A lot of you voted for Trump, and look what you got as a president. It's affecting your own pocket, your happiness. It's instilling a lot of hate with children that watch this president. Don't let me go on this. Children are supposed to look up to their president. This is one president no child can look up to. He's calling reporters stupid, calling them names, calling ex-presidents names. Well, the guy can't even walk a straight line, and he forgets what he's talking about on his press conferences. He's got this unusual sores on his hand, which means that he's had, what do you call them? Not a catheter in there, for many times to instill some saline or something in there. He loses his memory all the time. And he calls Joe Biden Sleepy Joe, but how many times in the press conferences he fell asleep? Sleepy Don. You voted for him. I don't want to hear no bullshit. You voted for him. I didn't. Some people say, well, Frank, if you don't vote, you have no say on any of these presidents. Well, I'm in the Philippines. I can't vote here anyway. And if I could, I certainly wouldn't have voted for Trump again. One disastrous time in office was enough. But he's getting old and his mind is deteriorating, his body is deteriorating. You can't have a leader do that. Look what he's doing to the wing of the White House. Historical. Americana. A symbol of America. He got the wrecking ball on because he wanted to create a big ballroom so he could entertain all his phony baloney rich friends and billionaires. Wants to erect a statue of himself there. The guy's out of his fucking mind. Don't tell me whether I feel angry. That's how I talk. If I sound intense, it's because I want to sound intense. Because a lot of the things that's going on in America is causation is Donald Trump. He should not be in office. I can't wait till they release all the Epstein files. He got away with how many felonies? He's the first president that I'm aware of that managed to get himself full immunity from any crime that he did. He should have been in jail a long time ago. Gives himself immunity. How did he do that? He probably threatened the members of the Senate and the Congress. You want this as a president? Seriously? I'm pretty adamant on shit like that. This guy's going to cause a world war. I think that he knows he's getting old. I think he knows his health is failing and he wants to go out with a big bang. He wants to get even before he croaks, and I feel this strongly. I see it. Well, maybe some of you people can't see it because you don't have an open mind. He wants to go out with a bang, which means that anybody that's ever been adverse to him, that they will lose their job or get killed. He doesn't care at this point. He wants to leave an indelible mark in the world. Now he wants to go after Venezuela. There's more drugs coming out of Mexico than Venezuela because he doesn't like the leader of Venezuela because he's a communist or something. Do you think he had the right to blow up these few people on a boat, not just with one missile? And these missiles probably cost about $500,000 for each missile. Once was not enough. He had to blow it up twice. There was no cause for that. There was none. And he gets away with it. Well, I'm not saying Biden was pure as the driven snow either. Sure, he pardoned his son because he was able to do that. Just like if Trump's son got in trouble, he'd pardon him too. Trump has pardoned people that were part of his party. Favor system. They all scratch each other's back, but I don't want to make this all about Trump. I'm just kind of touching up on a few things, you know. I don't even know if you could do that absentee ballot. Remember, Barry said that he voted on the computer. He didn't vote for shit. Talk about a flag waiver, that's Barry. But he doesn't abide by the law. He'll follow Republican law, which is nothing but crime, criminals. Rah, rah, America, but he don't follow the rules. He's a criminal. Criminals have no say in anything. He's a criminal in America, and he's a criminal here in the Philippines. Yeah, politics is a bad discussion on here. Well, I'm not talking about this country, so I'm safe. But nevertheless, it's not really my favorite topic to begin with anyway. We'll give it a little bit more time on here. I'm going to finish my tea. And a few other things I need to actually accomplish today, hopefully this morning. I don't know what else to say about this. I just think I spent an extraordinary amount of time being a YouTuber on here. And if anybody's learned a few things from me, then I accomplished my mission. And I know a lot have. They won't admit it, but they have. It shows you what determination can do. You believe in something strong enough, you get it done. And I'm a person who gets things done. It's in my nature, it's in my character. When I start something, I have to finish it. Because I'm always going to feel that void if I don't finish something that I start. It's like that feng shui, whatever you want to call it. If furniture's out of array and something's not right in there, I got to straighten out. Whether it's a picture on the wall, I got to get that good feeling. If I got clothing strewn all over the place, it makes me feel that way too. It just makes me feel like I'm unsettled. I like to be neat and clean. I like to be organized as best as I could anyway. That's just who I am. Like this fly that's been bothering me is going to be annihilated pretty soon as I can find the fly swatter. Don't tread on me, yeah. Anyway, I don't know if we should keep this going any bit longer. The fact is, a lot of my so-called supporters are trolls. The fact is, a lot of my so-called supporters have done nothing to back me up historically. They just want to hear drama. They just want to hear what's going on with Barry, what's going on with a legal case, what's going on with Shaw. They want to see everything that's going on in my life that they could use against me. That's my mistake there. Being too personal. That was one of my biggest mistakes. However, history is history. Captain Thornton, what makes you think quitting will be different this time than from the past? Well, maybe I mean it more this time. Maybe I've really come to this point where I feel it's useless. Like I said, if I was making thousands of dollars per month on my show and I had that kind of audience, it might be worth staying on. But even so, with that in mind, it doesn't balance out all the time. There's people, look at that one guy in New York, Istat, whatever his name, Alfred, no, what was his name? The guy was making millions. He quit social media. He was the leading, besides Mr. Beast, he was like one of the leading YouTubers. Sponsors, like you wouldn't believe, the guy was wealthy. It came off to a point that he said, enough of this shit. I'm tired of dealing with trolls. I'm tired of dealing with everything that's involved. He had to have whole crews and coordinate whole crews to do the camera work, to do the editing. It became a full-time business for him that he got rewarded from, that's for damn sure. But he didn't really need the money anymore. And he didn't want to put up with the nonsense, and that's why he got off. Well, yeah, Casey Neistat, exactly, Mr. Whistler. And what's this here? From Travel, Learn, and Repeat. To be honest, I didn't think you could have done what you did to Barry. And I know many others felt the same. Well, as I said, when I put my mind to something, that's one thing about me I could talk about. I generally get it done. I can't start a painting project, for example, without finishing it. I cannot start a project without finishing it. It'll eat at me. I got to finish this. I can't even leave the laundry in regular cycle and not just let it hang there without coming there and put it on rinse cycle, drain it and put it on rinse cycle. I can't leave it laying there. I'm a very structured person. That's just a poor shit example of something, but so I can think of at the moment. But in other words, I'm Johnny on the spot when it comes to getting things done. And hopefully, expeditiously, rather than drawn out. Barry deserves where he's at. I will always say it. I'll die knowing that. I did the world a favor, not just you two, but the good people of the Philippines, the women that he's hurt and taken money from, the people that he's used and abused, just like his friend Jay, another piece of work. Nothing but a fucking fat, hairy-chested, aboriginally-looking motherfucker who has a piss-poor opinion about women and what they're only good for. Drinks like a fucking fish, chain smokes like there's no tomorrow. A worthless piece of shit that's been with young women. And believe me, he has. He's been with young women. He has been with young women underage. And he hung around with Barry. And I'm not going to say any more than that. I know as a fact. And you can't respect people like that. Sorry. I can't anyway. And the gall to ever call me a child predator. Let me tell you something about me. I've been around children all my life. I've had one, raised one on my own. I'm around my girlfriend's children every single day. I don't look at them funny. I don't do anything strange. I've been around other people's children. I love children. Sometimes, if they're not mine, I love them better. But with that being said, I remember my daughter, who I knew was following me on YouTube, and this is about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, perhaps, maybe 2 years ago. She actually came on somebody's show that was live, not on Voice. She made a comment on there saying, where someone was saying that I abused my daughter. Oh boy, did that flush her out. She actually came on and said, and I know it was her, and said, my father has never abused me. She actually came on. Yeah, of course, I'm talking about Jay. Of course. He's been with very young women, girls. He's a scumbag. He's what we don't want in the Philippines. Go after the real scumbags and get them deported if they happen to live here. That's what I say. The people that should not be here should not even come in the Philippines. Example, Philippines Antics. She's a good example. You know her history, what she's done, right? I don't know how she got through the gates into the Philippines. I really don't know. Guess they weren't as stringent as they are now. But you're either going to quit or you don't quit. Now, Aloe came up with a suggestion, but I don't think I even want to go for that. I don't know. Alice said, why don't you just do a series of shorts? Say what's on your mind, do whatever you want to talk about. Do a short. Don't have to have a comment section. Well, I had that in mind too. It's still not out of the question, but I think it's really leaning toward why get on at all? The question is, and the key question is, what do I have to gain? Travel Repeat says, I stopped watching Philippines Antics because the lady wears the pants and the guy wears the dress. Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, I could relate with you on that. They're all screwed up. And some of you guys are fucking screwed up. No offense. I don't know you personally. But a lot of people that come on regularly and comment on my show are probably just as screwed up as these other people. I don't know that as a fact. But like I always say, don't join a club that have you as a member. If somebody's coming to my show and acting very friendly with me, most likely they're trolls going under a different name. I've always known that. People think I'm so naive, but I'm really not. But I always figured that, well, if they're not ranking on me or something, let them talk. I'll be very cordial to them. But the real piss holes that are on here, I don't let on my show. The fact is, my viewers have never supported me through the whole Barry thing. You never supported me. You never gave to the cause. Oh, Frank's just a scammer. He's going to pocket the money. I've never scammed anyone on here. And they go back to the GoFundMe thing I had years ago when I first started coming to the Philippines, where I was actually trying to help a little bit of a community in Tiza area. This was like their own city, dad, These were dwellings that people lived in under the most horrendous conditions. And that's when I first realized how fortunate I was and to watch the way I lived. That's when my, humility, that's when I've seen things that I never seen to that level of poverty before. And I tried to help. It was Joy at the time. I was messing around with Joy. And she brought me down, meet her mom and all that in the community. Oh, and they were friendly people. They were wonderful people. One guy was really cool. He was talking to me for a while. He talked about the community, everything. The kids were wonderful. That's how this chick in Florida got involved. She saw the poverty, and I was actually around a bunch of kids, and I was teaching them some English that they didn't know. Had a real fun time doing that. The parents appreciated. The kids was just really cooperative. And we were having a good time. It was hotter than shit. I remember it was that time of year. It was hotter than shit. And I was sweating my balls off. But we sat there and the kids loved it. They loved the attention from a foreigner or any attention from an outsider. They were fantastic people. And yes, I helped Joy a little bit. I didn't know she was a major scammer. But you don't know until later on. Bought her mother a little burner stove. I even had her cousin who was a carpenter put down some flooring on this. Well, let me explain the situation. They lived in a tiny room. You walk up this broken down stairway. It's just one tiny room. That was the mother and Joy and two of her own kids and one of... They used to have 2 rooms in there, but the floor was not safe. So I saw that. I didn't hesitate. Nobody asked me. This is what a louse I am. Nobody asked me. And I had her cousin come over. He put in a new flooring in there that they had a little bit of room to spread out. This is the horrible things I've done for people. I got tired of that shit. But, I don't have to explain myself. I've done a lot of good deeds in my life outside of YouTube, outside of the Philippines, and I still do. Nothing stops me from having a good heart and helping other people that might be a little less fortunate than me. No, I'm not wealthy in any form or way. But I could help somebody, and I've done so many things right here in my own town. And people remember that. Don't define me as what people talk about me on YouTube, because they're full of shit and it's just trying to get my goat. I think if you're reasonably intelligent, you would know that already. You wouldn't have to question what I'm talking about. YouTube is too volatile for anyone, not just me. It's too volatile. The more you get involved, the deeper you become in shit. You want people coming by your house unannounced? You don't know what they're capable of. Look at fucking Brevis, a genuine sociopath, who I believe was behind the Rice thing. He was behind a lot of shit. These are sick puppies. These are mentally ill people. And you really want me to deal with them on a daily basis? Seriously? You have to make a decision along the line. Sure, if I didn't get some kind of entertainment or some value out of YouTube, I would have been off a long time ago, considering a whole lot of events. But sometimes you got to force yourself, and I did that for 3 months, and I had no problem. And I could do it again. I don't even think I want to create shorts like Aloe suggested, because they want to know everything that's going on with me. They were in the dark. When I wasn't on for 3 months, they were all in the dark. Rumors going around that Frank croaked, Frank died, or Frank's been arrested, or Frank's been deported. It was fun. Just listening to it. Meanwhile, I'm over there having my cup of tea or dinner or something, and I'm listening to this shit, and I'm laughing. What's next? I'm thinking to myself. Frank got maybe bitten by a cobra or something, and he succumbed to the poison. I mean, you name it, they had it. They depend on me coming on. And my greatest tool is not to be on. It kills them, especially Popeye. Even Big E. Big E says he don't listen to my shows. People just write me. No, Big E listens to everything I put on. Trust me. And so does everybody else. Yeah. I am significant to YouTube in a big way. And I don't have to have all the subscribers. Because the local community that deals with the Philippines genre are the ones that are listening. They want to know everything about me. They love if I put Gilda on camera, but that's not something I normally do. They know I found a good one. They don't want me to be happy. Why would I want to be around a bunch of negative people? And I did it for so long. I don't know how I lasted this long, to be honest with you. I don't know. I really don't know. Just very negative people. Lonely people. They've got more time on their hands than I do on this island. And at my age. I don't need this crap. Yet I kept on coming on. And I even asked myself, why? I'd say, well, because I could. Because I had something to say and I couldn't hold it in. But you got to use a little bit of restraint like I did that 3 months I was off here recently. I had no problem with it after the first couple of days. It was more fun just listening in and watch everybody fight with each other and see where it went. And it gave you clarity. That was the beauty of it. It gave you such clarity. It made you realize that I have been on here. I've been on here how many years? Dealing with this nonsense, this bullshit, the lies, the antagonism, the allegations. Let's get it all straight. Nobody fucked with somebody's child in Hawaii. Nobody was sitting on my lap. I wasn't in a sealed room. Yeah, I talked about Fazio's mushroom, and I had fun doing that. He happened to walk in the room right in the middle of this, is what happened. Sure, I could have said, come back another time. Okay, I wasn't thinking. But nobody touched a kid. Nobody. I liked this kid. So did my brother. I felt sorry for him because his own family didn't pay much attention to him. He was getting obese because he wasn't active. He was exposed to his parents' pot and cigarette smoking and alcohol and pot smoking. Me and my brother felt sorry for the kid. That's why I told my brother, if you're going to smoke any pot, don't smoke anything around a kid if you happen to be around. He never did that. Never drank. Or not that the kid would come over all the time. We barely ever seen him, except that they were leaving in the car to go somewhere to the store or something. They would leave their children in the house alone, underage children alone. So don't think that you know all the information as to what really transpired. I'm telling you now, and I've told you before, they were out to make a paycheck on me. And it's true, they will never get that money. And the only reason the judge put it in their favor because I did not show up physically to the court hearing. I was on Zoom, although I was there, but did not allow it. If you knew what went on behind those closed doors to my tenants, you would be in awe. Let's put it that way. And what I've heard, what I've seen, was terrible. And my poor brother had to be in between all this stuff. That was bad. He had his own problems, health-wise, stress, everything. He had to be in between all this shit. It wasn't fair to him, really. But yeah, my brother was lonely. And they went and recorded him on the phone, the tenants that they gave to people on YouTube. That was horrible. When my brother was reaching out for his tenants, my tenants, anyway, who he thought were friends. It's almost like he felt abandoned by him. He'd smoke a doobie with him, have a drink with him. He was under the impression that they were friends, and they weren't. They tried to destroy his situation, his living situation, while at the same time trying to destroy me, but it didn't work. I got the sheriff to finally, after lots of paperwork and court hearings, I got them thrown out on their fucking asses. But I was kind about it. In the last courtroom session, he came up to me after the judge told his gorilla-looking wife, it looked like a fucking orangutan, told her that when she asked the question, well, when do I have to get out? And the judge goes, well, now, today. You should have seen her face. So when we got in the hallway, when the session was over, these are little things you don't know. The husband came up to me and said, can you give us some time? This is a quick decision by the judge. So my lawyer kind of nudged me and said, give him a week. And I gave him a week, and they left earlier than a week. But I was kind enough, after all the bullshit they pulled on me, to give them some time to find a place. I wasn't cruel to them. Okay? I wasn't cruel to them at all. But it goes to show you what I'm really about. And I'm going to get off now. I've said what I needed to say. As far as me doing shorts on here, I'm kind of doubting it. I'm kind of doubting it. I mean, I know me. And if Trump got fucking, ousted out of office, I may come on to celebrate and do a short show. I don't know. Things like that, I can't contain myself, to be honest with you. When something like that happens, it's like I want to celebrate. And I want to show people I'm celebrating. As far as Barry is concerned, he'll be going home before you know it. With or without somebody's help. He's in jail for a little longer time because it's called, and I spoke about this, subsidiary punishment. So if you don't pay the fees and fines, it's just going to give you more time. That's what they're going to do. He will have served his time, and it's not peaches and cream when he gets released, and he knows that. He may even be stopped with U.S. immigration when he reaches U.S. immigration authorities at the gates. Likely he has bench warrants or felony non-payment, and it's still good after all these years. I think it's 20 years. It has accrued. In Alabama, they don't get, it's not like 2 years or something, and if you didn't pay, you're out of, out of the circuit, but that's not true. 20 years in Alabama. So that'll be on governmental records. So once he fucking hits U.S. soil, it's just beginning for him. It's just a beginning for him. He's going to get what he deserves. And so far he has. Do I have any regrets for getting his fucking ass in jail? I have absolutely zero regrets. No matter what the ramifications were with his girlfriend, I'm steadfast on that belief. I did what needed to be done. That you people did not want to get involved, but you had a lot to say about Barry, didn't you? Oh yeah, Barry was a creep. He was this, he did this with girls. He took people's money. But did you help me? Monetarily? Or legally? Or any other way? To get this thing in motion? None of you did. None of you did. Not one of you. Except, okay, of all people, what's his fucking name? God, I haven't heard him for a long time. I don't even remember his name anymore. Larry. He gave me $600 once to shove it to Barry. He's the only one that, and then he turned on me at the same time. Goes to show you how wackadoodle these people are. Says I went out and bought a gold chain with that, which never happened, folks. It never happened. That was utilized toward my lawyer. Just to let you know. I never used or abused anybody's money because there was never any money given to me other than just one person, really. Nobody wanted to help me with the cause. None of you. None of you. I had to do it all on my own, and I did a damn good job of it. Sure, it was stressful, tedious, time-consuming, but the end result was fantastic. In other words, it worked. I basically sent a clear message to Barry Lee Jordan. You can't get away with the defamation on somebody's character that you bestowed upon me. The coward you are doing it behind your computer. He thought he could get away with it. He said, immigration don't care about me. Unless you do something wrong, maybe they'll catch you. Immigration's never going after me, but they did. I helped it along. And boy, his face when he got arrested in car, saying to himself, that son of a bitch did it. You'll never catch me, he said. Well, they caught him. Then he proceeded to go on for how many years, calling me a child predator and everything else he did. Thought he'd get away with that too. He said, you have no evidence. Fuck you, Frank. You got no evidence. Well, how could he be that stupid? When I've actually presented evidence on my own show of his death threats, countless times of he calling me a child predator, a chomo, a pedophile. Some people would have killed for that. Nobody should call anybody that for 4, 5 years. Get mad, call somebody a name. Bad on you, perhaps. And maybe you shouldn't. And I've done it. I've done it. But I didn't spend a career doing it. You get mad, call him a name, and get over it. But this guy did it for how many years? It got to the point I was holding back, and I said, no more. I'm not holding back anymore. Doesn't matter what money it costs me. I'd go broke, believe me, to create some sort of justice in a situation like his. So there you go. It's now history. He's paid the price. I'm fine with him going home at any time. At any time. It's all good. But that's because I also know that it's not over for him. Look, here's the thing. His girlfriend putting this complaint against me. For what? She just created turmoil for herself. She was never going to be able to spend a life with Barry because Barry couldn't support her. Number one, if he was free. Number two, he was in jail. How do you maintain a relationship with somebody in jail? You're not going to be able to get married to him. And you're not going to be able to go to the United States and have a life with him. And he couldn't support her even if she did, if he did find a way. He'd just be in trouble again. It was a waste of her time. But she thought she remedied this by putting a complaint against me. Well, how's that worked out for her so far? She's got no more relationship with him. And if she did, it's a put on. Excuse me. It's a put on. Where did that go? Where did that go? Tell me, where did that go? Double jeopardy. The relationship could have never worked. Why she was with him all this time, I can't tell you. I don't know what goes on in her mind. I don't know, honestly. But I know a lot of Filipinos that will lie to their friends and say, oh yeah, no, he's back working in America. Don't want to tell their friends that her fiance is actually in jail. because they want to save face. That's very atypical of Filipinos. They don't want that embarrassment. The biggest thing is that they have an American boyfriend. That's a big plus, even if the guy's a criminal. They're not going to tell her friends everything she did to innocent people. Of course not. That wouldn't look good. Well, that's what went on with that. Where is she now? She's wondering what's going to happen to her now as a result of what she did to me. Sure, she had help in this. Of course she did. She could have done this on her own. We all know that. We don't even have to think about it. We know she had help. We know she was pushed into doing this, but nevertheless, she did. What's going to be the consequences of what she did when the smoke clears? I guess we'll have to see and wait. You'll probably never know about it unless it comes out on her side. Because if I'm not on YouTube, I'm not going to do a tell-all. No. I'm sure if they dropped this complaint on me, I'd probably come on and show you the paperwork and say, what do you got now in your arsenal? I might, or I might not. But she didn't do herself a favor by agreeing for people to pay for a lawyer for her and to write out a totally bogus complaint. And if immigration cannot see that, then yeah, there's a lot of corruption going on. And we don't know what transpired between any of these people in immigration. We don't know. I can't come on here and say. But I do know why they're holding out on the resolution. I can't talk about that. I do know why. And all the affidavits and memorandums and everything my lawyer put in, very valid, to the point, and it does address past cases in the Philippines and how that turned out for people and how all this is unjustified and the length of time it's taken is against my constitutional rights here, even as a foreigner. There's a lot of little bugaboos in there, flies in the ointment. So we'll see what happens. If something happened, then I'd fight it. That's all. I'll still be here for a long period of time before they're going to deport my ass. Because of some lying shit that some revengeful Filipino wanted to do against me to satisfy her corrupt, criminal, felon boyfriend. Karma, my friends, karma. It ain't over till it's over. We'll see what happens from there. I'm not going to divulge too much information on this. We'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm just waiting for this to end, good or bad. You think I'm going to let this go? Are you fucking out of your mind? Do you actually think I want to let this go? I may change my mind. I don't know. And say to hell with it. It's over with, whatever, move on. Or I may not. Because it's still built up in me. I'm not very happy with this woman. At all. Of course, I'm not going to do physical damage to her. I wouldn't do that. Never even met the woman. She's an expert on me, right? No, she's just listening to too many pissholes out there that want to get revenge against me. Was she enticed to do this? Well, use your better judgment. That's my show, and that's all I have to say. I think I said it very well. You people have not supported me when I needed you. You want to listen to good old Uncle Frank here. I love his storytelling. Well, thank you. I hope you learned something from me. So I've actually have contributed to this community after all, haven't I? But you people never supported me in the past in any form. No, you just wanted more drama because that's what you live on, because a lot of you are lonely people. You live off the drama, just like Popeye. A piss-poor example of a human who's basically dying. Doesn't go out to events, doesn't do anything. Just sits there and puts skits on, and that's his life. Piss-poor example of a foreigner. Well, he's not even a foreigner. He hasn't been in the Philippines for fucking how many decades? He's afraid to come here. He's afraid somebody's going to find him and kick the shit out of him. I swear to God, if I saw him in the goddamn streets, which it's never going to happen, and I knew it was him, I wouldn't hesitate to pull him into the next fucking alley and beat the snot out of him. I say,